Hi, and welcome back to Cheyenne Wyoming Urban Gardener. This is Debbie, and we're getting started on planting some of our seeds today. This is going to be the onions that I'm going to be getting planted, and what you're seeing right now is some leftover pieces that I had from some cakes and cookies and things like that, and also from salads that I had picked up a long time ago. These have actually been saved for almost 2 years now, and I have a large tray that goes on top of a cake that was from a birthday cake, and then I have two what they call clamshells from strawberries right here. You can see there's the label and everything on the top, and we are just reusing these and just recycling them with planting some seeds in them. So we just have some soil, the soil that I had shown in a previous video that I was preparing for planting seeds, and that was just by moistening it and things like that. And then I had some leftover soil in another pot where I haven't been planting anything, so I just went ahead and got that in here. And as you can see, the vermiculite that's in here, those little white pieces, is the vermiculite, and it's still very, very healthy. It's in there, and that helps with all the moisture and everything within the containers of soil. Sorry about that. I also have my grandson down here right now. So this is early morning, so he's still in his pajamas. And we're just getting ready to put these onion seeds in the soil and get that done and over with and get started with our day, because we've got a lot of stuff to do. We have begun homeschooling my grandson. So we have school to do. So I'm teaching a little bit of school here with homeschooling. And we're just going to go ahead and get these seeds out of the way. We already started the artichoke seeds that you'll be seeing in a previous video. And we've been doing some repotting and cleaning up of the garden area that is inside of the house, which is the south-facing window. Let me just show you that. As you can see, here is the basil. We have been working with that, and this is also the fuchsia. So you had seen in the previous video that the fuchsia had started kind of dying back on this one side, which is the oldest side that I have. I think I've had this plant for 3 or 4 years now, and it had started dying back. So we have been cleaning that up, and I think I'm going to have to take this limb out. But it does have a lot of new sections on it that are coming out, which is good. And then the basil still looks great. And then we still have this big section over here, which is all beautiful. It even has fruit and some new flowers coming on. And then we had cleaned up, as you noticed, the mint in a prior video. I went ahead and cleaned that up. You can see all the little dead pieces were taken out, and now all of the new growth is coming on. And this is a huge difference from when you all saw it last. And even in this one, we took out all of the dead part here. So we have just the new sections coming out here. And we will be putting these, basically you just put them down and let them touch the ground or touch the soil, and they will start rooting in, because they have all these little new sections through here with new growth on them, and those will root if you just put them down in the soil and the soil is kept damp. And then we have the peppermint here. You can see all the new sections coming out, which I'd shown in the last couple of videos, and this whole new section here that's coming on. And then we still have quite a few of the vines after I cleaned them out that are still green and still producing some leaves. So we went ahead and left those. And then this is the other one that I had cleaned up. I'm probably going to have to trim this little limb off right here, but otherwise looking fantastic. Definitely getting a lot of new growth on them. And then we had cleaned up this fuchsia plant up here, which was a cutting off of the original one. So we just, as I had stated before, we cleaned all of this up in here in this section, took all the dead leaves and dead pieces, and looking great there. So let's go ahead and get started on those onion seeds. And now you can see that I've been collecting quite a bit of seeds, especially from Etsy. These are all Etsy seeds. They've came from places like Zelajake. This is from tomorrowseeds.com. All kinds of different seeds in here, and I've gotten a lot of free seeds as well. And then I've been working with some people through a group on Facebook, and have been collecting seeds there too. They've been sending me all of these new seeds that I haven't tried before. This is the King of the North red bell pepper. These are supposed to be cold hardy and get as big as or even larger than a conventional bell pepper. So we're going to try those this year. And we've got some more of the Marconi peppers, which I really enjoyed last season. And just all kinds of different seeds. And I even got some of these Parisian carrots. These are supposed to be quite large ox heart Parisians. So we're looking at carrots that are going to be short, but that are bigger than fist sized. So that's going to be quite huge in the ground. So we've got that going on. Got all kinds of seeds in here that I just want to try out this year. I've got some old German tomatoes. I definitely want to try those out. Now, I did try a variety of German tomato out last season that I was not happy with, but this is a different type of those tomatoes, and those are supposed to be much bigger. Of course, we've got some of the seeds we saved from the prior season, and just on and on and on. So we've got quite a lot of seeds in here that we want to try this season. This is my cabbage seeds. I want to get some of those started today because we will be able to put cabbages out probably towards the end of April. But anyway, if you don't know anything about Cheyenne, Wyoming, we are in zone 6A/6B, or sorry, 5A/5B. So anyway, it's a lot colder here, short season. We only have about 100 days, sometimes 110 if it pushes it. Sometimes I can get things out earlier, but we really depend on how warm the soil gets, especially for things like squash and tomatoes and more of the warmer climate plants. So those are a lot more difficult to go. You can go ahead and get them in the ground, and it might be warm outside, but the soil itself has not warmed up yet. So then sometimes they will just struggle until they die off if you get them out too early. So we normally do not plant things here until, if we're lucky and it's a really warm season, then sometimes we can get them out as early as mid-May. But typically it is the last week of May, the first week of June that we start putting things out, like squash, tomatoes, and things like that. Now, last season we got a little bit more lucky. We got them out pretty much right on time, and then I had plants that were really ready and all of that. However, we had a hailstorm that destroyed everything, and I had to replant everything. So I really struggled last season to get things in, harvesting in on time. So anyway, let's go ahead and look in here and see if we can find we've got our red ruby onions here. So that is one of the varieties that we're going to be trying. And I also have a container of some yellow onions in here, and I'm just going to have to search through and find them. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, and here we have our onion seeds here. Again, we've got the red ruby onions. We've also got some sweet Spanish white, and also some Walla Walla onions. So I'm going to go ahead and get these planted. What I'm going to do is just to plant them, well, about 2 inches, about an inch apart, because what I want them to do is to get a bulb on them, and then what we will do is to put them out once they have the bulb on them. We're not going to be planting these seeds directly in the ground. They're going to go into these clamshells in the soil about an inch apart, and then we will get them started with that. You just want to cover them up with about a 1/2 inch of soil. And once they get started, you're going to see they're going to look like grass. They're just really, really thin at that point, and they're going to be about that tall, and you just want to keep going with them. You cannot plant them outside until they're about 8 to 10 weeks old and they have bulbed up. And you have to give them a little bit of a break before you get them planted outside, so that way they get big, nice and big onions. And I just checked again, and it is about a 1/2 inch, and you want to go ahead and get these started about, it says 4 to actually it says before last frost, but actually you want to get these started about 8 to 10 weeks prior to getting them planted outside. So you're going to put them down about a 1/2 inch. We're going to maximize the entire space in these clamshells, just so we have enough onions to plant outside. and then we will work from there. But we're working on getting really nice large onions this time. I did not order from Dixondale Farms this time around. Usually I get my onion sets from Menards and other places that have picked them up from Dixondale Farms. However, as you know, last season I had a horrible situation with the onions. The onion sets, because they came from Dixondale Farms. They came from Texas. Texas had a very late snowstorm and freeze. So it really messed up. I noticed a lot of people's onions for this past season. So this season, we're going to do our own onions, our own onion seeds. And honestly, this is going to be the first time that I'm doing onion seeds. And if it doesn't work out, then I can just go ahead and pick up onion sets and go from there and hope that those onion sets will be good. And I may even get the onion slips. I had a very good year about 4 seasons ago with having onion slips instead of onion sets, which was very strange for me. And I had really nice big onions that season. So I definitely want to have some nice big onions. And even if they're small onions, we can still use them. They're just going to be a little bit more difficult to work with because they're smaller. But we're going to do the seeds. We're going to see how this goes and get them planted and get them set in the windows, in the south-facing window. And again, it's just going to be planting them a 1/2 inch down. And I'm going to be maximizing all of the space. So I'm not going to be doing rows this time. I'm just going to be putting the seeds in there. And I've got 3 packs of onion seeds, so I'm going to be separating one of these in half because I don't want a whole lot of red onions. The red onions tend to be smaller than the larger white onions or yellow onions, so we're going to work predominantly with those yellow and white onions, and also the red onions do not store as long as those other onion types. And the Walla Walla onions actually do not store very well at all. You have to use those up pretty quickly. So that is going to be that. Anyway, we will see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for notices on new videos as they come out. And again, we will see you in the next one.